Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Thanks for coming to
afternoon.
our panel. Well, I think I have to start by letting you all get your elevator pitches out of the way. So why don't you start by, introducing your companies and the problems in the world you're trying to solve.
All right. So let me go first.
Yep.
I'm Abhijit Mitra. I'm the CEO of Outreach. Outreach, some of you may know, is a revenue workflow platform. What we do is we use AI to automate work for sales, marketing, and customer success teams, all the way from how you generate pipeline to how you work on your deals, how you forecast, and how you retain and expand your customers. So that's what Outreach does. Very happy to be here today.
Gautam.
So I'm Gautam Rege. Yes, as in the music genre reggae. So what's up, man? I run a company called Josh Software. Josh in my mother tongue means enthusiasm and passion. And we're a software services company helping a lot of fintech companies with fintech solutions across the world. We've been using AI for improving productivity and improving the customer experience, for looking into security and scale for different customers that we serve. So that's about me.
And thank you for the clarification. I initially thought it was Josh with my American perspective. So let's define agentic. It's thrown around a lot. I was just at an AI conference where in Las Vegas, of course, they use an AI to read the entire transcript generated by AI, and agentic was the top keyword by a huge margin. What does that mean to you, and how is it different from plain old AI, or for lack of a better word, software?
So you want to go first?
Sure. So personally, I think the concept of agentic AI has not just been overused, it's also been abused. 4 out of 5 use cases for agentic AI which come to us are just fluff. To be able to decide, research, and act makes it an agentic AI. A lot of people look at a lot of data. A lot of people analyze a lot of data as just standard analytics and say, we're doing AI. But an agentic AI is something which is going to maintain the context, is going to help you not just decide, but also act. And that's what determines whether you're agentic AI, whether you're AI, or you just have agents, human agents.
So I support that, and I'll add to that a little bit. So for those of you who are following the world of AI, you will know that we were talking about predictive AI a couple of years ago. And then predictive AI is about looking at data, past data, and making decisions for the future. And then with generative AI, we started talking about assistive AI, or copilots. And the idea there is that, well, the AI is actually helping you make some decisions, but it's really looking at the data and giving you some guidance. And now with agentic AI, what's happening is the AI is independently reasoning and taking the next best action that it thinks is the right action. So that's really the transformation that we are seeing in the market today, from automation, which is the AI is being told to do some stuff, to autonomous or autonomy, where the AI is independently reasoning, like Gautam pointed out. And really speaking, very few companies are doing that today. So we all say agentic AI, but very few of us are actually doing it.
Now, does it have to be able to do something on its own? I'm thinking of last week at Google I/O, they introduced a shopping option in their AI mode where you can say, I'm looking for a shirt to wear for my panel at Web Summit. And it can go out, pick something in a TV-friendly color, but as shown off, it doesn't actually make the decision. You still have to click the buy button. Does it need the human in the loop?
So my point of view is that, and Outreach's point of view is that it absolutely does need the human in the loop, because the human has to give you the AI the feedback that it learns from. There are use cases we can have agentic AI do more things more autonomously. Let me explain to you. So one of the things we recently brought to the market is AI revenue agents. What that thing does is it looks at data that's available either within your organization or even out there as third-party data. And it identifies signals which will be the trigger for the agent to actually do something. For example, reach out to a customer saying that, hey, you know what? This product is well suited for you. Or that you're expanding, and hence now you might be interested in this product line from us. So that's what the agent does. It looks at data, it looks at automation, and then it independently figures out what the right content is that it should be reaching out to. Now, here's the trick. If you let AI do the whole thing without any supervision, you don't know what's going on. You don't know even if you have the right data. Most companies don't have the right data available, right? So you need to supervise, and you need to guide, and you need to have the governance structure in place. So my point of view is that there are some use cases where you can probably let the AI do a little bit more on its own, but you really need to have the governance structures in place. Make sure it's learning, like any team member, like any new hire that you have, you need to make sure that they know what they're doing. And then with over time, you can let it loose a bit more.
You know, Amit, two words here. Two words whenever you're looking into any kind of AI or agentic AI autonomy. Two words, accountability and liability. Would you let that AI agent be accountable for the decisions it took? What happens if it takes a wrong decision and causes loss? Would you be liable? Would you shunt it onto an agentic AI and be absolved of the crime? And if we are able to answer this simple question, who is accountable for the decision taken, and who is going to pay in case something goes wrong, then you have the right use case for an agentic AI. Going back to Rob, your mention about Google AI, in Google I/O, they mentioned about getting into agentic AI mode. Would you allow it to book a hotel room for you? We were just discussing earlier, you want to fly from DC to Berlin.
I'm very picky about my flight planning.
Yeah.
Right? This agent will learn everything about you, whether you want an aisle seat, you want a window seat, what kind of cuisine you want. It can go and do all the booking. It'll probably book the hotel of your choice. But will you let it book, or will you ask it to recommend today? My belief is that none of us are ready today to let AI do everything for us. But ladies and gentlemen, we are fast reaching a pace in maybe the next few years, or a couple of years, or maybe even next year, where you will agree to it. So AI is going to be a part of our life. These agents are going to sadly rule our decisions in the future. But are we there today? No. So we have to take agentic AI, for lack of better phrase, with a pinch of salt today.
It occurs to me that when you're looking at the whole issue of accountability or liability, that will be up to the terms of service, and they're often very lengthy. So what you might need is to have an AI read the terms of service to outline what your actual risks are, parse the legalese for you.
Yeah, so that's a very important point. So Outreach has roughly about 6,000 customers, and many of our customers, we own 20% of the global top 50 companies in the world are using us. And so we are also heavily into financial services, where I know, Gautam, you have a lot of customers as well. So the regulatory aspect of AI and use of AI and governance and the data that it shares is super important for our customers. So we have obviously separate contracts that we have to have. We have a very strong compliance team also who works very closely with customers to make sure we're compliant with the corporate IT policies. You just can't, buy a piece of software and let it loose. There are also regulatory standards coming up now. Some of you may have heard of ISO 42001, which is the first.
I have to admit, I had not heard about that prior to our conversation.
You haven't?
No.
All right.
I promised, it's on my reading list, I promise.
It's a very long reading list.
Should I have an AI summarize that too?
Unfortunately, that won't work.
Oh.
You have to understand.
The AI is probably going to say, yes, you can agree to terms and conditions.
Just click submit.
So it's a very stringent ISO certification, as you know, and it's new, so most vendors don't comply to that. And we are trying to get compliant with that as well. So there are things like that which enterprises want, and people like us, we just have to make sure
So
that we're
how
compliant.
do you decide if you have customer interest or demand that yes, this is a good thing to turn over to agentic AI app, or we're not ready to do that yet? What are your decision points there?
Cost. The first is cost saving. So here's an example. One of our companies, they're into a financial risk undertaking and assessment. Today, it's extremely subjective. If you are able to dole out the grunt work of risk assessment to an AI agentic model, which is going to even go and ask questions via email, maybe chat, maybe sometimes even voice, call up a particular person or an entity, find out information about them, gather it, put it into perspective of our own company's lending risk profile portfolio. Are they from a geography which we are not getting into? Is it a risk for territorial risk? Is it a geopolitical risk? All these criteria can be put into a system, and a decision can be taken about whether the risk should be taken, and if the risk should be underwritten, to what extent should be underwritten. Today, all this stuff is automated, and a final recommendation decision with a percentage comes out to this particular customer of ours. It says with a guarantee of, say, 83% or 94% that this is the level of risk underwriting should be taken. But the final decision still resides with the human entity because of those two words. Somebody has to be accountable, somebody has to be liable. In the future, this will change, but not today.
So what I hear from customers, our customers, is one is around efficiency, which to some extent is cost. And the second is outcome. So if I can do more with the folks, with the people that I have, if I can elevate human decision making and just make people more productive and more efficient at what they do, if I can remove the mundane and routine work and let the AI do that, so I can really focus on empathetic work, creative work, strategic work, that's what our customers want to do. So I'll give you an example. Account research. If you're in sales, you need to be on top of your accounts. And so figuring out what's happening in your account, not just with you, but with your competitors. Like, who is there in your account and trying to dislodge you or getting to the share of pie that you should be getting to first, right? So this account research is a painstaking work, and the moment you do it, it's outdated. Because something else has happened in the market that you are not always up to date with. What if the AI could do the account research for me? That's taking out the mundane work, the painstaking work. So now, as a human, you can decide which accounts to prioritize and what should be your sales play. What if you let the AI also do the sales play for you? What is it going to do? It's not going to talk on your behalf to the customer. Well, it can maybe warm up some prospects. It can find out like who do you need to talk to. It can get them to you. And then you, the person, the human, is the one who is actually having the meeting and closing the deal. So these are the kind of use cases that we hear customers are more interested in. Like humans will not be replaced with AI, not in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, so even
Hopefully not doing panels. That would be boring.
Imagine if you were talking to
even a lot of the news that we're hearing
Screens
about
on stage.
the news about companies laying off people because of AI. I personally don't believe that's true. There are layoffs, that's true. But the reason cited behind that is they're riding on the wave of operational efficiency. It's also about performance, and it's also about cost. So if there is a thought process that I am ever going to lose my job to AI, not in the near future. We cannot predict because the next 2 or 3 years are actually going to reach some sort of inflection point about how well we're going to use AI, how well it's going to be regulated, and how well it's actually going to be integrated as part of our life. So jobs will change. They will not become obsolete.
Exactly. Jobs will change, and for the better is what we are all hoping. These are things that we want to do. We want to be creative. We want to be strategic. We want to spend time with people. Humans are social by nature, right? So, but if the mundane and routine can be taken out of our lives to some extent, I think we all will welcome that. So that's, in my opinion, is what agentic AI is all about.
Are there examples where you were considering handing a task to an agentic AI system and then decided, no, the software's not ready yet, or customer demand is not there, or we're not sure what sort of output we'll get out of it?
Yeah, it's very interesting. So, so we actually did a very long, drawn-out private beta with a lot of customers, enterprise customers, before we brought this out and made this GA. And so we went in with some assumptions saying that, OK, this use case probably is the good one. And what we realized is two things. One is that the change management of what it takes to roll out a use case is way underestimated, way underestimated. Because you're changing the way people are working. It's not a technology decision, really. It's a people decision. It's a process decision. So there's a lot of change management that has to happen to make sure any use case is actually going anywhere. So that's sort of one learning we had. The second learning we had is that if you have the right kind of tools and technology in place, the use cases emerge because customers and people figure out, oh, I could have used this for something else. So for example, I'll give you a simple example, which is that we thought we were rolling out a prospecting agent, which is go and prospect. But customers started using us for retaining and expanding. So, which is a very different use case, actually. It's where you go to your existing customers and say, hey, are you getting enough value from what I've given you? So how do I make sure I give you more value so you can buy more or you can stay with me? Which is a very different use case, but same infrastructure. So customers are actually identifying, people are identifying as they're getting more conversant with the change management and how you use this technology. And so I think we'll see more of that. So that's kind of my experience that I want
I think there's the only caveat to this is that your agent is only going to be as good as the underlying data. The underlying data structures should be without bias, should be tuned to what your core ethics, values, responsibility are, and then your AI, and then finally your agents, which are running over that AI, will be able to fine-tune themselves to work in that particular direction. A lot of the times, people try to just run or race ahead trying to build some AI-enabled technology without the backing of their core gold standard data set. And that's when all the problems start. So if anyone has any of these use cases, first ask yourself the question, do I have enough information which is to be processed by AI, which can help it maintain context, and then later on take a decision? So
100% agree on this.
So that brings up another issue, privacy. For a lot of the best agentic AI applications, we were talking about flights. There's all sorts of priorities. My thoughts about connecting in Frankfurt versus Munich, I have a lot of thoughts about that. To what extent are we going to get into a situation where people may just not want to hand over that data because it might be embarrassing, or they don't know how the AI is going to process it, what will happen to it afterwards?
You want to take that first?
I don't think we'll ever reach that stage. Today, all of us have some sort of smart device with us anyway. Our data is already going. If it's going to benefit us over the long run, we really let that data go. Yeah, well, I'm worried that in the future, I hope AI doesn't take a decision about whom you should marry. It might. And down the line, people are probably going to say...
Sure there isn't a startup pitching around here with that sort of idea? I haven't not walked the whole floor yet.
Well, you never know where it goes. But once this AI actually tunes into you, you're going to be told one day, you know what, you ordered the salmon, don't eat it, order the tuna. And you're going to say, OK, without hesitation.
OK, so I've got to close with this then. A year from now, if they have us back, do you think you'll be trusting an agentic AI to book your travel to Vancouver?
So trust, you brought up the word trust. That's a super important word, actually, in this whole thing. So I don't know if it's a year from now, or 2 years from now, or 10 years from now. But building up trust between humans and AI is going to take time.
Yep. So that sounds like a no.
I didn't say that.
Okay. Gautam, how about you?
yes, we are all going to trust agentic AI in the future. Not today. Unfortunately, future could be a year or 3 years. But I believe within 3 years, we are probably all going to look back and say, really? There was a panel on stage which discussed this? It could be that mundane.
Put that on my calendar for 3 years from now. We'll circle back and think.
It's like when SaaS came around, and then we were like, oh, you know what? It's not on-premise, it's SaaS. I don't think this is ever going to take off.
It's complicated. All right. We hope we've enlightened you a little bit about this. If you have any other questions, ask us, our chatbot. We'll get back to your chatbot. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob.